Hi, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to this lovely morning.
Good
We say a
morning.
very good morning to Dr. Diane Chambers, who is in Perth, Australia. We say a very good morning to Mr. Cedric Yang from Google Malaysia, Mr. Stephen Lee from Google Malaysia, and also Mr. Victor Lam. And of course, every one of us, my dear colleagues. Okay. So welcome back to our virtual workshop entitled Design and Development of Inclusive Open Educational Resources, iOER we call it. So in the last 2 weeks, we have underwent a very intensified upskilling by Dr. Diane Chambers in accessibility and inclusiveness in the creation, in the design, in the development of OER, Open Education Resources, okay? And we also had time with the expert from CAS on Universal Design for Learning, as well as from Creative Commons, Mr. Cable Green. So just to update our invited guest speakers, the audience that is before us this morning are all representative from all the public university in Malaysia. So 20 public university are represented here, including a team of about 12 from Simeo Sen, okay, where they specialize in special education. So, dear ladies and gentlemen and dear colleagues, we have made very special arrangement with Google to bring in these 3 experts to come in, okay? And, you know, they are very, very busy people. So Cedric, Stephen, and Victor, thank you so much, you know, for your valuable time. Especially Victor, right now is having some business meeting on. So you'll pop in afterwards. Let me give a very, very brief introduction to 3 of them. Mr. Cedric Yang is the education lead for Google Cloud Malaysia and Southeast Asia emerging countries. He joined Google Cloud in somewhere in March 2021 and is responsible for the education business for private education, for public education, that's where we are, and also education technology. So Mr. Cedric Yang, definitely many of us will be following up with you. The other invited guest is Mr. Stephen Lee, who is the customer solution consultant for Google Cloud for the public sector. And together with Cedric, he supports the education sector for Malaysia. So they are all important behind the scene, you know, supporting all of us in using Google in Malaysia. Thank you, thank you. And Mr. Victor Lam from Google for Education Southeast Asia, he's based in Malaysia, and he leads the Google for Education effort in Southeast Asia. And from what I understand, you know, his mission, according to the Google for Education mission, is to expand what, where, and how students learn so that everyone has access to the quality education they deserve. And this is exactly what the whole objective of our virtual workshop is all about. Okay, so without much ado, I would now like to invite Mr. Cedric Yang to take the floor. Over to you, Mr. Cedric.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Pong, and that's a very lovely welcome address. And yeah, hello everyone, and very good morning to everyone here. And yeah, I'm Cedric. I'm the education lead for Google Cloud Malaysia. Just one moment, let me bring up my screen. So.
straight to
Mereka akan menghantar skrip.
Sorry, Cedric, are you speaking? There's no audio.
How about this?
Okay, right now I can hear you. Just now there was no sound at all.
Okay. Is there so are
We
you
have to
seeing
start
my
all over
screen now?
again. Okay, now. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think a little bit of fun fact. We have our own Google Meet, so I've not been using Zoom for almost a year now. So please bear with me. Apologize for the technology. Yeah, so I think as Googler, we use a lot of Google Meet sessions, right? Yeah, so hopefully the next session we are able to conduct this in Google Meet. But yeah, I will start over again. So yeah, once again, thank you very much to the Ministry of Higher Education and of course all the representatives here today, and of course Dr. Diane for inviting us to share regarding what Google has to offer in terms of the education space. I will go through the agenda first, right? So we will spend the first 10 minutes talking about Google Cloud and what's Google Cloud all about. And of course, the second session will be the Anywhere School. This is where we'll share what technology has also bring us the value or in terms of digital transformation. And of course, accessibility. That is also one of the key area that we will focus in. And of course, the most interesting part will be conducted by my fellow colleague, Stephen, who will share with you how AI, right, as a chatbot can help in terms of conversational to help students or even adults that have, some disability. Yeah, this is where we are able to use all this AI intelligence as well. All right, of course, feel free to stop us if you need to ask any question, but we will leave the last 5 minutes for Q&A. All right, so without further ado, I would like to introduce our education team. We are all based in Malaysia. All right, so of course, I'm the education lead for Google Cloud. And of course, I have Stephen, who is our consultant, right? And so he basically looks after all the technical as well as solutions, right? And we have Victor. Apologize again. So Victor would not be joining us until much later in the morning, right? He's attending to some urgent business meetings, all right? So that is the Google Cloud education team, all right? I will just proceed to my first session about Google Cloud, all right? So Google Cloud mission is to drive digital transformation through, through technology, as well as infrastructure, modernizations, application development, etc. And how Google Cloud are able to help you is through application development, application management, infra mod, and also how we are able to optimize operation. And most importantly, it can help improve distance learning and collaboration with workforce transformation. Okay, so many of you seated in this webinar today would have interacted with Google in some form in your daily lives. In fact, if you just take out your mobile devices now and you take a quick glance, you'll notice how many of these icons, right, you see on the slide today are also the icons you tap on your phone on daily basis, right? So all these function and features is not surprisingly that it cross all these 9 products, right? Google has exceeded 1 billion users each. So there's a commonality among all of this, all right? So they are all powered by artificial intelligence, machine learning, and also the cloud, all right? So it transforms the very way we interact with one another and also helping us to collaborate more effectively. All right, so recognizing the demand of our cloud technology in many different parts of the world, as you can see, right, from a global perspective, right, from multinational customers to even public sectors and of course education, right? We have broadened our region footprint. We are now live in 28 regions and of course 73 zones globally. This allows us to service our customer in over 200 over countries around the world. So this is also a fun fact. Google also owns the subsea cable. If you can see some of the blue lines, right? So that we ensure secure and network resilient infrastructure for our customers. So we are also proud to be one of the biggest renewable energy vendor, right? So we have been the largest procurer of renewable energy, and we have been 100% carbon neutral for many years. All right, so building on this global scale of infrastructure is our digital transformation platform, which provide you a number of capabilities to modernize your application across both hybrid and multi-cloud. All right, so this will allow you to process data at scale for analytic purposes and to use Google machine learning tools to understand data in new ways. So this is how we are able to use all the technology in Google, all right, in your environment, be it you are running it on on-prem or hybrid cloud. And even if you decided to engage some of our friendly competitors, right, like the 2 other A company, right? So we are able to help you manage them as well, right? So this is how flexible Google is. All right, so Google Cloud offers a serverless, fully managed petabyte scale and of course low-cost data warehouse platform. This actually lays the foundation to machine learning and artificial intelligence. So what that means, right? So it actually reduces your time to query and transform data in both real time as well as batch mode. So what it means that all the data ingestion that we collect from your database or your student management system, your student information system will be extracted, right? And of course transfer into a data pipeline. And then of course, we are also able to produce it into a dashboard manner. So that will actually provide you an end-to-end data processing, all right? And what this help is actually people like, of course, from the ministry are able to track or even analyze some of the students' attention, student performance, students' behavior, and attrition rate, etc. Okay. All right, so this is an overview of what Google Cloud has to offer. All right, so basically Google Cloud Platform is a suite of cloud computing services from computing to hosting to machine learning. It all runs on the same infrastructure as you can see, right, on the left. And of course, on the right is what the same infrastructure that Google uses internally for its end users products. Such as Google Search, such as YouTube, and of course Google Pay, Google Maps, and etc. All right. So Google Cloud will be able to offer 50 offerings, including smart analytics as a service, data management as a service, API management. Right. How are we going to help you manage your API? As well as application platform as a service. And last but not least, infrastructure. So we are looking at the whole new level of, in terms of computing, hosting, storage, networking, big data, machine learning. Alongside all this offering, Google's also transformed how people collaborate with companies, and of course, in education, right? And how the universities, how the ministries, how the students, the staff, the lecturers communicate, as well as, most importantly, collaborate, right? So this is what we will share later in the next few slides. All right. So with that, this is in a nutshell what Google Cloud is all about. So I'll quickly shift gear to what we call the Anywhere School, right? And I would like to talk about how technology can enable learning. All right. All right, so today I would like to take you through some observations about the challenges as well as opportunities that technology brings to the education, with a particular emphasis on the changes that COVID has catalyzed. All right, so everyone here, we have experienced the pandemic, and of course, education is in a time of unforeseen complexity. I think everyone agree with me, right? With COVID-19 has resulted in school shut all across the world, and at its peak, over 1.2 billion children globally were out of the classroom, right? So this disruption has caused teachers and students to reinvent the way they teach, they learn, as well as adapting to the situation. So while students across the world learn in different ways, right? So one thing is very clear, right? Learning happens where life happens. So in the classroom, in our homes, and everywhere in between. School closures during COVID show us that the line between this environment can be blurred, right? Requiring everyone, especially teachers, families, students working together, right? And also to help the students to get through the school day, of course, the day into daily activities in the schools, or remote learning. So over the years, people turn to technology more than ever to help them learn, teach from anywhere. So throughout it all, the education community has inspired us with their creativity, resilience, and always remaining focused on their student. Just take a quick look at this short clip. I'll just play it.
We were not sure what would happen to us. We did not know what would happen to our pupils and our staff members.
हमें डर था कि बच्चे कहीं पीछे ना रह जाएं।
हेलो
तो हम टीचरों को ही कोई नया रास्ता ढूंढना था।
We're going to work out the volume of this spring roll.
Good morning and welcome to our whole school assembly.
Let's get some learning on.
I consist of 95% water.
I am really happy to see so many people. Hi.
Ciao bambini.
El COVID nos ha llevado a innovar, a hacer cosas disruptivas, a hacer cosas diferentes.
Technology can level the playing field for children. It opens up so many avenues that they otherwise would not have been exposed to. It's hope.
I'm so proud of you. Well done.
All right, so technology has become a part of these new ways of teaching, which continue to inspire us every day. All right, so Willapon Lahon is an educator from Thailand, and teaching the agriculture subject in actual field using a Chromebook. All right, so a little bit of a background on the project. So in April 2020, to reimagine how they could innovate their pedagogy with the use of Google for Education technology, so the Rita Yawanalai School launched a pilot in 2 8th grade classroom with 80 total students and of course 15 core teachers. They collaborated with several parties, a professional development team to enable the use of technology, and academic team to enable the use of technology, and academic team to guide on teaching and learning innovation. And of course, the Thai Ministry of Education to follow on the progress and also to design and implement a transformational framework to supercharge their use of technology. So aiming to improve the teacher and student outcomes, the Rita Yawanalai School implemented Chromebook with Chrome Education upgrade, as well as Google Workspace for Education in 2 8th grade classroom. In preparation for the pilot, teachers were trained on these technologies, how to integrate them into their classes. And of course, during the rollout, the COVID-19 pandemic forced the school to shift to a remote learning model, further accelerating the adoption of Google for Education tools. So within months, teachers in the pilot program found new ways to teach the curriculum and connect with students by harnessing the power of technology. So students become more actively engaged with the content, explore new tools, application, as well to supplement their learning experience, focusing on teaching and learning over functionality. Teachers emphasize the content and concept instead of the delivery tools. All right, so we work each day to empower every educator by giving them simple assistive tools so that they can focus on what they do best, which is helping their students reach their full potential. So let's take a look how this blind teacher in South Korea has utilized the accessibility features of Google for Education.
역사를 가르치면서 틈날 때마다 하는 말이 역사가 발전할수록 소외되는 사람들이 줄어드는 거다라는 말을 제가 많이 합니다. 예전에는 차별이 당연했던 지금은 평등이 당연한 세상이 되고 있고 그런 사람들도 조금 더 평등의 방향으로 나올 수 있어야 한다라는 생각을 심어주고 싶어서 계속 강조를 하고 있습니다. 저는 서현중학교에서 역사를 가르치고 있는 류창동이라고 합니다. 국내 시각장애인 중에서 처음으로 역사 교사가 되었습니다. 역사를 배우고 있는 이 친구들이 자신의 삶에 좀 고민이 되는 순간에 지식들을 적용하는 기회들을 좀 만나게 해주는 게 가장 이상적인 목표인 것 같습니다.
항상 저희를 되게 아껴주시는 게 느껴지고
질문을 되게 자유롭게 하라고 부담스러워하지 말라 이런 말씀을 되게 많이 해주셨던 것 같아요.
온라인 수업을 위해서 만들어 놓은 플랫폼들이 시각장애를 가지고 있는 교사나 학생들이 사용하지 못하는 부분들이 많습니다. 이전에 사용했던 플랫폼에서는 제가 로그인까지밖에 할 수가 없었어요. 그런데 구글 클래스룸이 온라인 수업 플랫폼이 되면서 제가 로그인을 하고 수업을 하는 각 반 클래스에 찾아 들어가고 거기에 올라온 수업을 확인하고 아이들이 단 댓글을 확인하고 그 댓글에 대한 피드백 댓글을 쓰고 그런 것들, 그러니까 클래스 안에서 이루어지는 상당히 많은 작업들을 제가 스크린 리더를 활용해서 혼자 할 수 있게 됐습니다.
질문을 저희가 했던 거를 피드백도 해주시고 마지막에 관련 영상을 또 찾아주셔서 온라인에서도 효율적으로 공부할 수 있도록 도와주는 것 같아요.
제가 잘할 수 있는 부분이 다름이라고 하는 가치를 알려줄 수 있는 일이라고 생각합니다. 아이들이 나중에 주변에 시각장애를 가진 친구나 동료를 만났을 때 공동체 일원으로 받아들일 수 있는 그런 역량을 충분히 기를 수 있는 기회가 될 거라고 생각합니다.
Okay.
역사를
Sorry. All right. So yeah, that's a video from South Korea. All right. So those were just some great examples of how teaching and learning has changed. So with all these changes, right, it seems that hybrid learning is here to stay. A recent survey actually showed that 82% of educators forecasted that combining technology use with traditional resources and teaching method is the most likely trend they will see in the next 10 years. We understand that this new hybrid setup and dealing with technology at this scale can be scary, and it's still scary to be honest, right? But equally, this challenges us to do more as a technology provider for education. While this past year brought so much change, one thing hasn't changed for us at all. All of us, we aim to be helpful by providing the technology and tools that meet the needs of teachers, students, education leaders, how they evolve and change over time. This approach has become even more important during this unique time, but has always been and will continue to be what informs our work. Our mission is to organize the world's information and make it universally accessible and useful. So because when a person has access to information online, etc., and can understand and apply that information, it can be transformative, right, for both themselves and the community. So that's why learning sits across everything we do at Google. As we change our ways of learning, we want to make sure that we are able to help everyone learn what they need, whether it's for school, for work, or any skill that they will need to progress in life. So as of today, we have helped 170 million educators and students to continue learning through Google Workspace for Education. So over 70 million have gained new digital skills through our Grow with Google program that helps to give them skills they need for the jobs they want. And over 1 billion have found answers and discovered something new through search. And we hope to continue this through learning with Google, our one-stop shop for all things learning that we recently launched. So this platform is Google's way of supporting the different learning needs of people today. We also did some further thinking about the mission of technology in education for us and the broader ecosystem. So we have concluded that technology needs to focus on few areas, all right? First of all, enabling every leader, all right? Of course, everyone seated here. How are we able to bring innovation to their schools or universities at scale with the peace of mind that they are investing in a secured products that are flexible to their needs? Empowering every educator by giving them a simple assistive tools so that they can focus on what they do best, which is helping the students reach their full potential. And thirdly, equipping every student with the tools and skills they need to be successful by focusing on inclusivity and accessibility, so we can meet students wherever they are. And how we are evolving every day by continue to listen to thousands of educators, create and improve upon existing solutions, ensuring that the latest technology is reflected in the tools built for teaching and learning. All right, sometimes we are forced to change. Here is an example how technology can be part of a solution when forced to change. So this school moved temporarily into an old publishing house with no classroom. One way to tackle the issue of not having walls was to rethink the teaching and learning. Example, maths was taught by 2 to 3 teachers across multiple classes, up to 75 students with devices, with teachers becoming coaches walking around supporting students during group work. So student grouping varied from subject to subject and even module to module within the subjects. So based on discussion by the teachers team, this was a new out-of-box way of teaching and utilizing technology in the classroom. So the ethos of being helpful has been as important as ever, especially as school transition back to in-person or to a hybrid learning environment. what we saw were educators taking the best bits from the tools and technology solutions that they were using to teach from home, bringing them into a classroom, and also to help open up new modes of learning. We can see one example of a connected class in Yokohama City, where each teacher and student has a Chromebook and use it for teaching and learning. Let's watch the video.
どの教科でもできるのかなって思うと、活用の幅は広がっていく可能性はあるなっていうふうに思いました。表現する力とか考えるっていうことも。
教員になってからは今16年をなんかついに来たなっていう感じがします。お願いします。元気ですか？よかった。汗だくですね。大丈夫かな？じゃあノクターンからいきましょうか。はい、じゃあ行きます。不安はみんなが使いこなせるかっていうこと。生徒と大人も。でも期待の方がちょっと大きいかなと。せっかくの機会なのでいろいろ勉強できればなと思ってます。クラスルーム作りたいと思います。右上のプラスボタンを押します。クラスを作成を選びましょう。こういうふうに使えるんだなって実際にやってみないと分かんないことが多いのですごく良かったと思います。授業で使い始めてからは今1ヶ月ぐらい。もう最初は大変でやっぱり。ちょっと今はだいぶ楽になりました。おはようございます。一度に音楽の方でクラスルーム入れますかって開いてください。どうぞ。まだいけてないよって言ってる。あ、できた。クロームブックで視覚的に整理しやすいとか、スクリーンでパッて見た時も共有しやすくなったかな。研修なかったらここまで多分できてなかったと思います。
どの教科でもできるのかなって思うと、活用の幅は広がっていく可能性はあるなっていうふうに思いました。表現する力とか考えるっていうことも活用によって伸ばせるのは楽しみではありますね。
自分たちが興味関心持ったことを知りたいな、学びたいなって時に、ぜひこの一人一台環境の端末を有効に活用してもらいたい。そして学びを深めてもらいたいと感じました。
もう社会で出てくと何が良くて何が自分に必要か自分で選んでいく道を歩まなきゃいけないので、3年間通してルール的なものも自分の中でちゃんと培っていってくれたらなと思います。
どの教科でもできるのか。
So we're also aware that many places in Asia Pacific, especially in Southeast Asia, are still limited when it comes to connectivity and bandwidth. So recently we announced classroom offline support, so learning can continue for teachers and students, regardless of the weather condition and Wi-Fi connectivity. So classroom offline support empowers students to be able to view and work on their assignment regardless of internet connectivity by allowing them to save attachment offline so that they can keep learning going even without internet connection. Okay, so we have seen how education changed rapidly in the past 2 years and witnessed the strength and resilience of our fellow educators. Looking at this situation, we keep asking ourselves, how do we leverage our technology for the future of education? So one of the core areas where we see opportunity for technology is in supporting differentiated learning. This is for all students as well as special needs. These are some focus areas that we are working on to reimagine the future of education. improving personalized learning for everyone, leveraging AI and machine learning for education, and rethinking accessibility inclusively. Let's start with how leveraging technology is to improve personalized learning or training. So one of the big areas of change we are seeing with technology in education is smart analytics. Okay, so by using smart analytics, not only are we able to improve the quality of education, for example, to assess the quality of course design, the effectiveness of certain tools, but we're also able to improve student retention and the student engagement. For example, by predicting dropout risk. All right, so in a later session, my colleague Stephen will actually show some of these solutions. We will take you through some of the demo as well. So a good example of the usage of smart analytics is Ivy Tech Community College, which has over 50,000 students constantly generating data. They wanted to be able to identify at-risk students early enough in the semester to meaningfully intervene where needed. By applying knowledge of the predicted grades of students, they were able to construct intervention programs that help record the largest percentage drop in D and the F grades in 50 years. Another example is Unizin. Universities are often challenged with identifying how they can best meet the individualized needs of students. This includes suggesting the right classes, individualization learning, and identifying students in need of help early, before it's too late, right? So they either fail a class or worse, risk of dropping out. So to address this, the Unizin, a consortium of 25 leading universities, working together to improve education with technology, announced that its Unizin data platform, UDP, will be built on Google Cloud Platform as part of a new alliances with Google Cloud. So the Unizin data platform allows institutions to anonymize, aggregate, store, share, and analyze teaching and learning data. Member universities use this data to do things like identifying students who may be at risk of failing a class or improving personalized learning approaches. To do so, the platform gives real-time information about the course satisfaction and seeks to find the common denominator in high-performing students so that the data can be used for students struggling in a particular subject or even class to help them overcome their challenges. The platform can even help to recommend a peer or a mentor per student based on their profile, disciplines, and goals. Understanding data from the past gives educators more insights and tools to help improve student outcome. Well, artificial intelligence is also able to guide students on their writing, providing immediate and scalable feedback for students. All right. And of course, we also have something called AI tutors, also able to help with individualized and assisted learning, ensuring students are challenged according to their abilities and also ensuring that students are engaged. Another example of assisted learning coming from Carnegie Mellon, right? So it explains that individual instructions from private tutor has been shown to be the most effective form of learning. But unfortunately, not every student has access to a private tutor. They wanted to best understand how robotic assistants could collaborate with humans to complete tasks and build relationships, rather than merely replacing the work of human assistants. So the solution is how CMU adopted Google Cloud Platform's machine learning engine to study robotic interaction with humans and train their agents with social awareness. They have created two socially aware assistants, Sarah, socially aware robot assistants, and RAP, rapport aware peer tutor. So what's the benefits? These assistants provide help to people while also learning social capabilities from human users. So in our following session, my colleague Stephen will actually take you through these virtual assistants and a demo as well. So you can see how the virtual assistants will assist a student in needs, for example. All right, so now let's take a look how technology help us to rethink accessibility inclusively. Okay, we talk about equity a lot at Google. Okay, 15% of the world's population has some form of disability. Equality focuses on having the same inputs, giving everyone the same thing, whereas equity focuses on having the same outputs, everyone achieving equal level of success. In order to achieve equitable outcomes for students, we aim to design our platforms with individual characteristics in mind. So for students, the ability to set individual settings that move with them across devices help create a customized learning environment that instills confidence and empowers students to collaborate equally with their peers. So IT decision makers how it will help IT decision makers is with the features that can individually tailor to each student's and teachers' needs. There's less need for assistive technology. And of course, educators, right? How intuitive and easy to set our accessibility settings can help reduce time spent on assistive technology. So you can devote more time to teaching. And of course, for families, how each parent or families are empowered to support their students learning from wherever they are. These are some of the tools we have to help students who are differently abled and who face different challenges. So live captions in Google Slides and Google Meet to display the speaker's words in real time at the bottom of the screen can help students with hearing difficulties. Unfortunately, today we are using Zoom. I'm not sure if we have that features, but yeah, if you are using Google Meet, you actually can try out these features. You can click on the double C button. That is actually a closed caption that you are able to have the live captions features. Also, features that read text out loud can be useful for students with visual impairments, learning and processing challenges, or even students learning a new language. We believe that the future of education is really about inclusivity and leaving no students or teacher behind. So, as you can see, 93 million children are living with disability worldwide. And 70% of teachers lack the resources to support children with learning and attention issues. And of course, 51% are not confident in their ability, and 61% are not confident in identifying children with special needs. So accessibility has become even more crucial than ever, right? With distant learning or remote learning. How are we ensuring that children and families can access and engage and collaborate with all this learning experience? So at Google for Education, we believe in the power of accessibility. We have shared our Google mission. So it's also how we are able to expand what where, how individuals learn and also teaching, right? So everyone has the same access and of course, quality education. So how do we do this, right? We have created Google for Education products with accessibility features built in by default. And how we're able to help every student learn and to be inspired. And of course, Google for Education products are designed with the accessibility built in that we have spoke about. So as you can see, all these icons like that you can see here, Classroom, Google Docs, Google Meet, Google Drive, right? Assignments in a classroom, Google Sheets, Google Slides, Google Forms, right? And Jamboard and etc., right? So all these have these features built in, as you can see at the bottom, all right? How we're able to do visual support, audio captions, screen reading support, as well as alternative input, and of course, the most interesting part, which is the accessibility Chrome extension they are made available. So here are a few examples of the things that you can try to help students see screens more easily, right? Increase the size of the cursor or increase the text size for better visibility. You're also able to add a highlighted circle around the cursor when moving the mouse, text also when typing, or keyboard focus item when tabbing. These colorful rings appear when the items are in motion to draw a greater visual focus and then fade away. So for students with light sensitivity or eye strain, you can turn on the high contrast mode to invert the colors across Chromebook. And also you can increase the size of the browser of app content or make everything on the screen, including the app icons and Chrome tabs, larger for greater visibility. For higher level of zoom, you can also try the full screen or dock magnifiers in Chromebook accessibility settings. The full screen magnifier zooms the entire screen, whereas the dock magnifier makes the top 1/3 of the screen magnified area. You are able to learn more in this Chromebook magnification tutorial that you can Google it, right? Also, there's also an automatic alternate text. When students use a screen reader in Chrome, they can get Google to automatically provide description of unlabeled images. For example, images that don't have the alternate text. So features that read text out loud can be useful for students with visual impairments, learning and processing challenges, or even students learning a new language. So you have the select to speak features. Let students hear the text they choose on screen spoken out loud, with word-by-word visual highlighting for better audio and visual connection. Also, with Chromebox, the built-in screen reader for Chromebooks, students can navigate around the Chromebook interface using audio spoken feedback or braille. To hear whatever text is under the cursor, turn on speak text under the mouse in Chromebox options. This is most beneficial for students who have significant vision loss. Also, you're able to add the read and write Chrome extension from text help for spelling and grammar checks, talking and picture dictionaries, text-to-speech and additional reading and writing supports, all in one easy-to-use toolbar. All right, so how we are able to use live caption in Google Slides and Google Meet to display the speaker words in real time at the bottom of the screen, as you can see. And for any user who have limited hearing in 1 year, there's a mono audio option to play the sound through both speakers. In addition, Chromebooks support the latest standards for video closed captions. For students that have a motor impairment, they might find the following features helpful. Dictations allows users speak to their Chromebook to enter text in the most places where they may otherwise type. Students can use voice typing to enter, edit, and format text in Google Docs, Google Slides, or without a keyboard. Detecting writing assignments can be also very helpful for students who get a little stuck and want to get thoughts flowing by speaking instead of typing. Students with mobility impairments can use features like the on-screen keyboard to type using a mouse or pointer devices, or automatic clicks to hover over items to click or scroll. Sticky keys allow shortcut keys to be typed in sequence without pressing modifier keys at the same time. Users can try the Co-Writer Chrome extension for word prediction and completion, as well as excellent grammar help. Don Johnston is offering free access to this and other e-learning tools. And if you use an Android device, some of the key features like TalkBack fully interact with what's on your screen through sound and touch. Use TalkBack to hear everything from notification to app names to how much battery life you have. Live transcript. Get real-time captions right away as you are having a conversation. And of course, live caption for calls. With a single tap, live caption automatically captions the videos, podcasts, and audio messages. Even stuff that you record yourself without ever needing Wi-Fi or mobile data. Among many more, Lookout allows user to use their cameras to help identify what's nearby. Action blocks allows users to make routine actions easier with customizable buttons on the Android home screen. So what are the Chrome extensions? They are small software programs that customize the browsing experience. They enable users to tailor Chrome functionality and behavior to individual needs or preferences. We now have docs.new and slides.new, etc. Is to create new Google Workspace docs in Chrome browsers. They highlight beeline, stay focused, read and write. This list is not one that we promote, but has been sourced and curated by most of the educators. So before closing, I would also like to share one of this video that I found particularly inspiring and great example of what tech-enabled learning really can mean for all of us here.
Tell me when you're ready to film.
Oh, we're ready.
Grace always said, my personal motto is blind can do anything.
I'm going higher here.
If she wants to do something, she figures out a way to do it. We never, ever made a big deal about her being blind. I wanted to always raise her like, you can do anything anybody else does. We just might need to figure out a way to do it differently. Going into her school years, Grace has always wanted to just keep right up with her sighted peers and do what they're doing.
I'm in the 5th grade of Village Elementary School. It's completely an open school for everybody.
Grace in the general education classroom because she can do all of the same work as her general education peers, and we want her to be able to show that.
For many years, She has been able to do the lessons, but she's had multiple pieces of equipment. She often had to have an aide read to her.
When Grace doesn't have access to the same things as all the other kids, it really does frustrate her.
I can't just go get a pencil and paper. I have to use special technology that produces Braille and that speaks. Open classroom.
It's been really exciting to see what technology can do for her. This year in 5th grade, she's using Google Classroom, and it has just opened up a whole world for her.
Lesson 12, new assignment document contents. Double tap to edit.
Now, when I give an assignment, it's kind of a seamless transition.
She's able to get the same assignment they're getting at the very same time.
And it feels nice not to be like, oh, she's a special kid. We gotta do everything different just for her.
This has been a game changer. Her confidence level has really gone through the roof because she feels like she's able to keep up and that she has something comparable to what her peers are using.
Grace enriches this class beyond compare. And it means so much for me that she is truly included in every aspect of our classroom.
I like this day and age where there's like no segregation. I want to make the world know that blindness isn't a tragedy. This is who I am, and I love the way I am.
Okay. So yep, so that is the final video of the day, and this is also my last slide. So these are all the links to the Google Accessibility site, as well as how Google Workspace Accessibility user guide. So whoever that are using Google Workspace, right, you are able to get some of these user guides. And of course, Chromebook Help Center, where we focus a lot of accessibility features. So I hope, and of course the Chrome extension. So I hope all these are something valuable for your audiences to use and to share with the students in needs. All right. So with that, I will pass the floor to my fellow colleague, Mr. Stephen Lee, who is our customer consultant, all right, solution consultant. So he will take you through what we call conversational AI, artificial intelligence, which I shared earlier in my deck, how all these virtual assistants or chatbot were able to help the students. So over to you, Stephen, if you are there.
Hi, Mr. Cedric Young. Mr. Cedric Young, a very big thank you for your very enlightening sharing. And we will leave a question and answers to the end of the session after Stephen. Okay, over to you, Stephen. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fong. Thank you, Cedric, for the wonderful sharing. And perhaps you can help you navigate the slide. That would be great. Could you click next slide, please? Okay, so I think before we reach to the end of Cedric's deck, Cedric actually has shown a very nice video of a blind girl uses voice to interact with the system. So when we talk about accessibility, majority of the people in the world, we talk, we speak. And that is what Google's wanted to be, whereby the machine will learn to conversationally speak with the user. And that is what the end goal of making sure that everybody has accessibility to Google services. So if you look at, sorry, Cedric, you're looking at that. Okay, so if you look at Google is an AI company, and all the elements that the AI element is used across all our solutions. In a simple Google search, like you just punch in and say, what is the weather today? Google is intelligent enough to determine where you are and then find out the local weather pattern and even suggest to you what should be done and reply to you in a very easy understand manner. So if you look at all these pieces, what we're trying to do now is to showcase to you one of the pieces or building block that Google has, and you can then imagine how can this building block fits into your daily operations. Next slide, please. So again, this is a Google stack that we have. if you look at all the blocks, we have Google Cloud at the bottom layer. Now, all the other items you see on top of the Google Cloud icon are components that runs on Google Cloud. So if you do a search or you ask a question to your Google Home, all this operates and runs on Google Cloud, and the modules that you have seen there, you can use it inside all your own application, which is why on the top layer is customization and solution. Next slide, please. So dialog flow. So in this particular demonstration, what we'll do is to introduce one of the building blocks, which is called dialog flow. And next slide. So dialog flow is what we use to build conversational chatbot. And if you look at the current research pattern, 80% of the customer interaction actually can be resolved by having a well-defined chatbot. And with that well-defined chatbot, 60% of your consumer will be able to self-serve and to resolve their own issue easily. Now imagine that if, let's say, if you would like to start a car, instead of taking out your keys, fumbling through your pockets, you can just tell your car, start the engine. The car will automatically do that. Open the door. So these are all possibilities of voice, translating voice to actual action. Now, in Google, we use a dialog flow to build a chatbot, and the chatbot will be able to understand the conversation with and have a conversation with the user. So it will appear that you are talking to a people or to a person, and that so-called AI person will be able to serve you by just having a conversation with you. Next slide, please. So these are a couple of use cases. So of course, here we talk about business, but you can replace business with people. Now, to that people, for example, because every one of us is a consumer of services. So the chatbot can fit into all the scenario that listed here and to help the user, the people, to access information that they need. Next slide, please. Okay, this is just another example of how what kind of building blocks hence Google Flow takes, Dialog Flow takes to analyze the speeches. Now, as I mentioned before, there are a lot of building blocks inside Google. So Dialog Flow uses things, for example, like natural language processing, and knowledge graph, speech recognition, and so on and so forth, to translate and analyze a sentence spoken by a person. And from that analytic sentence, they will see the database and to derive what kind of services it needs or what kind of information it required, and then returns the required service or knowledge. Next slide, please. So these are just a few of the advantages of using the dialog flow. If you look at that, we actually have a lot of pre-built agent and even small talk feature to allow you to quickly build up your chatbot, so you can have a quick go to market, and again built on top of Google's decades of natural language processing knowledge, and this will actually allows you to do a lot of analytical functions, as well as to have what we call a dashboard. In later on, I have a demo. In that demo, you will see a simple chatbot, and then how the chatbot will help you to translate the question asked from the user or from the person you interact with into a meaningful dashboard where your operator or your management or your scientists can use that data to see how to serve the people better. And of course, maximize the reachability. Google has a lot of outreach. The Android app is part of Google as well, or the Chrome browser. So if you look at this, right, once the bot has been built, it can virtually deploy everywhere. And there is now 14+ languages supported. And I'm happy to say that the list of languages is increasing, and it integrates to 32 platforms. So TVs and whatsoever, all this can be integrated as part of the dialog flow of services offerings. Next slide, please, Cedric. Okay, so this is just a brief diagram or window to show you the multi-channel. So I'm not going to dive into deeply, but if you look at this using dialog flow, you can chat on the web. You can in text format, you can chat on the web. You can text them on the Messenger or Facebook, even WhatsApp, which I think most of us use WhatsApp, and also have in your Google Assistant on your Android phone, you can text through there, and it also can also have a digital voice, meaning you can call it like I say, I have a Google Home in my house, so sometimes we just tell Google Home to play a nursery, or my kids will actually tell Google Home to play a nursery or tell me a story. So Google Home will understand what's the instruction for kids. Sometimes the kids doesn't speak very well, but yet again the AI is intelligent enough to break down the sentence, broken English or Manglish, we call it Malaysian English, and then to translate that into actions and then respond back adequately. And of course, there are cases whereby if you will need help, let's say this is more on the call center AI, where you can call a call center. Now, I'm sure all of us have called call center, and that machine behind that call center is practically very unintelligent. It just asks you to press 1 and press 2 and press 3. And often or not, we end up going a merry-go-round just to press a 0 button to call the operator. So if you have tried the Google chatbot voice, it gives you really a close to human-like interaction where you can speak with it, just like say, hey, can I find out my credit rating, or tell me what is my due for this month, or my phone bill for this month. So the bot will understand the sentence and then will fetch the information and respond accordingly. So these are all the multi-channel options that are available for a Dialogflow. And next slide, please. And with that, I will need to take control of the screen to do a very quick demonstration. So again, I have not been using Zoom much, so hopefully, yeah, I think Cedric, you will need to stop sharing before I can share. Could you stop sharing so then we later you take back control? Let me try that. Do let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So this is a mockup site. So I have a mockup portal and then a chatbot here. Of course, in the context of education, well, we will build this chatbot to answer some of the normal questions that a student might have. Let's just say, what is my GPA? So if I say that, what is my GPA? This is to type. You can speak it out as well, but of course, in this demo, due to the going through virtual contact, due to the context of the virtual meeting, I did not enable the voice calling. So if we are on the on site that we can see each other, we can actually trigger a call function where you can just call the bot and it will say, hey, what is my GPA? And then the bot will actually read out to you, oh, our system indicate that your current GPA is so and so. So it's very human-like. What about if I'm not feeling well? I am feeling sick. So yeah, then you will say, please communicate your symptom to whatever, and so on and so forth. Now, all this, you might ask that, hey, how do the bot knows what to answer? So this is where in the later section we'll explain that there is a scripting element in the chatbot where you will actually instruct the chatbot what kind of answer matches what kind of questions, and the bot will actually smart enough to, let's just say, understand for this type of question about sickness or feeling unwell, it will route to this particular answer. So if the user type of similar questions that along the line of I'm feeling sick, the bot will actually understand it and respond accordingly. Let's just say, what do we have any event today? Yeah, this is something that I always ask some of my other event organizers. So do we have any event today? So if we have, the bot can actually check what kind of event is available for today. Now that is especially useful if you integrate with things, for example, on Google Calendar, and we can actually have an API built to, let's just say, check the calendar of your university to see or any speaker event available and so on and so forth. And yeah, so as you can see, right, the idea is to really make the accessibility of Google to the more people, the better. So which is why speech recognition as well and natural language processing is one of the core functionality that Google focus on, and you can leverage that using Dialogflow. Now, aside from having all this conversation, we can also have a dashboard. This is what we call a student experience dashboard. This is where whatever question that we ask, will be able to funnel into a dashboard whereby, let's just say, for example, in terms of a freshman, what kind of the majority question a freshman will ask, or if a senior, what kind of question a senior will ask? Maybe a freshman will have more question about lodging arrangement, what are the policies, and so on and so forth. Whereby maybe a graduate or a senior, they might want to know more about their grades or what is their coming seminar for career fair and so on and so forth. And you can even see that is there a repeat callers and what is the volume of conversation. Obviously, if it's a school, perhaps Saturday and Sunday, you have the lowest peak. But from here, you can see a pattern of trend, and you can see, based on the number of hours on Tuesday, what are the conversational patterns start like, and by categories, and so on and so forth. Now, I'm not going to go through with all this, but we do have we do have Ministry of Education whereby they are interested to use a chatbot to gauge the sentiment of their student. Now, because we know that at this COVID period of time, there's a lot of people that they have to stay at home to study or stay at home to work. The psychological impact might be there. So a chatbot can fit in whereby a human cannot, and it can scale. Take, for example, you can use a chatbot to actually regularly ask the 6 million students in Malaysia, how are you doing? Are you okay with this new course? Are you happy with the interface, or are you doing well? Or just to say, how are you? No, just say, hi, are you okay? This will create interaction with the student, and all this data can be collected, and then will help the administrator to determine whether or not there is a particular high-risk student, or that have a tendency for the risky behavior, or if a student has poor behavior and they are shy to talk to an actual human. Now, this is a real case. Sadly, a lot of people are reluctant to talk to an actual human to seek advice, but they are more open to bot. So this is where a bot can fit in. And imagine if you have 6 million students, or even just 100,000 students, how can you scale? How many operators do you need to have, a counselor you need to have just to do outreach? There will be a tremendous load. So a bot can fit in very nicely and scale very quickly. And the best thing is, all this conversation, all this sentiment feedback will be filled into a very easy, understandable dashboard, so that you can do analysis and take actions to help the students. Okay, so I'm gonna stop presenting and pass it back to Cedric to continue the deck. Cedric, can you share the slide?
Okay.
To perhaps Cedric for the closure. Next slide, please. So this is what we call a conversational call. So where our CCAI, short for Contact Center AI, will become your call center. So it would, what we recommend is complement your existing call center, so that it can replace majority of your workload and provide insight, and also to route those questions that, let's say, a bit unique that is not in the database, to a real live agent. So next slide, please. So the agent is our AI agent is able to understand. So it's speech to text, is able to talk. Now it speaks very much human-like. So it's not like I am Steven, the kind of a robotic talk. So it's a very human-like speech. You can even set what is the is it a female voice pattern, or is it a male voice pattern? So to create a more closeness in terms of conversations. So it interacts using Dialog4, as I shown just now, and the AI is also able to do a document assist. We can able to integrate that with our Doc AI, short for document AI, and that Doc AI will be able to recognize things like receipts. Let's say if someone send a receipts or send a complaint form or written complaint form whatsoever through chat interface, for example, that our bot will be able to utilize document AI to analyze what is this receipt or what is this about, so to help to properly respond to the caller. And of course, sentiment analysis, which I mentioned, showed earlier, that allows you to categorize what is the sentiment of the caller. Are they angry? We can even detect angry pitch, for example, so that if the speaker is yelling at the phone at the bot will be able to direct them to an actual human to address their immediate needs. Or if they are distressed, for example, you will be able to direct them to a helper to assist them if situation is dire. So next slide, please. Okay, so these are just a closing that you can see. We have virtual agent element that gives page 24 hours access for conversation, and agent assist as well as insight all into a CTI call. I think next slide. Okay, so right. So again, this is just to highlight that we are at the forefront of AI powered virtual agent. So yeah, next slide, please. And there's Insight AI to offer a fully customized dashboard running on our solution. So again, this is for analysis of sentiment. And the next one, please. So before we close the deck, this is the slide I would like to highlight, that Google is committed to help build this whole journey with our partners and our customer. So it's always very easy to say, oh, just build a bot, use our solution. But how to start? How can we build a quality script that really feels like a human, instead of distressing the user more? We should use craft the script very well to create a persona, so that in different scenario, whether is it calling just to find out the cost material or calling to seek help when they are emotional distress, the bot will be able to assume a persona to address their situation accurately. So we can also give you some guidance on how to write professional scripts, as well as how can you connect to your backend, because most of your data is already there on your backend. And this is how we can assist you. How can you connect to the backend to retrieve what is necessary instead of building from scratch? And of course, building POC is something that we love to do with you. Do reach out to Cedric and myself if you would like us to have a walkthrough with you on building a POC for this. And yes, ultimately, our solution is to assist the human agent and to elevate their workload, so that we can provide a much more quality service to our end users. So with that, I'd like to pass it back to you, Cedric, if you have anything to close for the next step.
Okay, thanks, Stephen, for the insightful sharing and yeah, and of course taking us through the demo showcase of the Stanford chatbot, right? So yep. So with that, is end of our presentation. I hope it's insightful and fruitful session for this. I think we are at off the mark, right? Yeah, 3 minutes of our presentation time. But yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity to share with you. Yep, and of course we will open the floor for question and answer. I see my colleague Victor has not joined the call. I think he's still caught up with that.
I mean, Cedric.
Oh, Victor. All right.
Victor is here.
Okay.
Hi, Victor.
Yeah, maybe Victor, you just would like to introduce yourself and maybe say hi to the audience. So yeah, thanks.
Yes.
Hi everyone, and thank you to the organizing folks for having Google over. Really apologize I couldn't come in earlier, but I trust my colleagues Cedric and Stephen were able to talk a whole lot more about the accessibility features. And yeah, really happy to join for the question and answer session. Yeah.
Thanks, Victor. Right. So yes, so Victor is our Google for Education specialist, right? As Dr. Fong has done a quick introduction earlier, Yeah, so Victor is based in Malaysia with us, right? The Google Cloud team. So he's our education specialist, and we look forward to work with every one of you. And I will open the floor now for any question and answer. Over to you, Dr. Fong.
Yes, thank you so much, Cedric. Thank you so much, Stephen, and thank you so much, Victor, for coming to share with us and updating us concerning accessibility and inclusivity that is available through your Google Workspace. We'd like to open up for question and answers. Feel free, everybody, because the three experts coming together before us is indeed a rare condition. So I'm looking at the chat box and I can see that Nurul Amalina has got a response concerning what we shared and what she's doing. Nurul Amalina, I open to you for a minute.
Okay. Yes, I'm in, Prof. Fong. Good morning, everyone. I'm actually from UPM. Just call me Amy. Actually, I just shared my output. It's a little bit of it's actually part of my research work. We have been developing chatbot for educational, but we haven't focused on the inclusiveness of the learning materials yet. But that is actually the first stage of our chatbot. And we have been developing using the dialog flow and deployed on the Telegram. So feel free to look it up and then comment lah. But it's a very, very small chunk of the research work that we have been developing. So hopefully, I think that's no question. If I have any question, I can just I will ask later. But right now, no question, Prof. Fong. Thank you so much for the sharing.
Thank you, Nurul Amalina. Thank you and congratulations. Okay. Chong, you have something to say?
Hi, Prof. Thanks for the sharing from Google's. During the early of the pandemics, I've done one webinar to share with my institute on how to use all the Google Chrome, Google extensions. So those are very useful tools. So I would like to ask, right? Because now the team here is want to develop inclusive open educational resources. So and we from the educator ends, we'll try to build the open educational resources materials to be more inclusive. So is there any let's say a guidance website or a video or any dummy guide for educators to be embedded in each of our websites for those that for holdings our repository, so that learner with special needs, if they need any guidance, they can use certain Google tools. So is there any a website or any videos that is already summarize all the useful tools? We can put the links and direct to it, so that will be very, very useful. So because now we have a lot of institutes and most of them would like to build their repositories, but we want to enhance the inclusivity. So I think Google is very, very useful with all the tools. So if there's a summary links, we can actually put inside our repositories, so that direct the learners to the guides.
Sure, Dr. Chong. I have some of these links earlier in my deck, right? I did share that some accessibility features link. There's also the Google Classroom user guide, as well as Google Workspace user guide, and also Chromebook extension, Chromebook accessibility features. So we will send you, after the session today, we will send you that link. I'll probably forward it to Dr. Fong because I only had his email address. Apologies, but yeah, I'll send it over to Dr. Fong of all these user guides as well as useful links. Hopefully that answer your question. Maybe yeah. So I think what I want to add is, like, besides you know, like the technology, right, in my deck I share, or some of my video, you see it's not just one silver bullet to address all the needs of accessibility, right? So it is inclusiveness of hardware, right? So of course devices like Chromebook, right? Chromebook is actually a very important component, right, from the hardware perspective. And then, of course, you have the application, which is also Google Workspace, which can incorporate all these features that I've already mentioned, right? The closed caption, some of these magnifier, zoom, and of course, recording also, right? It's one of these features that we use a lot in education, right? So I think all in all, you add in, and of course, definitely Google Cloud. This is where Google Cloud comes in to provide the platform, right, from the cloud services, like Stephen has showed, right, AI, and how you combine everything into a one, I would say, solutions for students with special needs. Yeah, so I think what I'm trying to say is we need to look at the entire ecosystem. Of course, it is also beyond, sometimes it's also beyond Google, right? We need specialists or academician like yourself, right, and all of you seated here to give us feedback, right? Because we Google, as Google, we would like to take feedback and also to learn, and of course to work with every one of you, right? And yeah, so I think this is where the collaboration happens. Yeah, I hope that answers your question. Thanks.
We open to anyone else who want to unmute to ask. Grab this opportunity. Yes, proceed.
Okay. Assalamualaikum. Yes, Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. Thank you, Prof. Chong, our dedicated facilitator, Dr. Chong. We are very inspired. So a very big thanks to Mr. Cedric, Mr. Stephen and Victor. I'm Munira binti Abdul Razak from University Malaysia Pahang, and I'm currently in charge for the disability unit services for University Malaysia Pahang. I'm glad to share also that since I guess past 12 years back, I got the opportunity to have and engage with interactive lecture. So this is my baby step. I could consider that how I learn to be inclusive, and the extension of that is several research, which is also, I think, a very humble beginning with Adam Harmony, and the main message there is to make everybody contribute and engage with EEE, engage, embed, and entice for learning ecosystem, which is, I think, very the same wavelength with what we are doing now. So with the spirit of collaboration and also engagement, I would like to ask if we have the opportunity to learn from Google, which is, I think, the main player. So for us, especially me, myself, a very we can consider we have the spirit, or we are very enthusiastic, but we don't know where to start properly in terms of the collaboration. For example, if we have that small research, so how to make it more impactful to everyone, because we want to send the message of harmony and also engagement and inclusivity. And perhaps if we want to share the spirit of community or society 5.0, what are happening now, my engineering students, most of them are having problem in order to adapt with the screen intensity of screen usage, which is the real problem, because they are engineering student, and which is the transition they are normally previously, sorry, they are not disabled. I mean, they are no non-disabled person, and now he has and facing several chronic diseases, even the side effect of very I can say big amount of exposure to the screen. And one of the problem is regarding to engineering drawings and so forth, which is they need precision and whatnot. So perhaps with this kind of problems solving oriented, something I could come across into mind. So perhaps we are here. I also seek also help from the rest of our academician here to help how with the integration or collaboration of this kind of ecosystem, we are able to embed whatever the curriculum. At the same time, we are also able to meet all the EAC, whatever requirement of the engineering board and all the what we can say related to their accreditation. But at the same time, they also have support from us, which is if I just came into mind that if we have the chatbot and also something like Siri for Apple and Katrina, what I don't really remember. So if there is also during their learning process, they also have this kind, I mean, like, for example, if they have a problem in doing the engineering drawings or whatever, there will be also an online assistance for them to ask help. For example, what are the apps possible to minimize the impact of this to them. So last but not least, if we can benchmark all over Malaysia, so perhaps in the future, I don't know, we can see in certain area as what suggested, for starting from the whole ecosystem from kindergarten up to tertiary level, where is the best apps or perhaps research available in the repository that from time to time we are highly spirited, collaborate and contribute in every level. So I think with that kind of sharing and plus question and also problems, so hopefully our respected seniors and team players in industry and also academicians, we can work out for something that can give not just impact to the academicians or perhaps the ecosystem, even the parents and so forth. And last but not least, my concern is also on the B40 and also plus, if I'm not mistaken, during this pandemic, there are also those who are working, even they are students. So perhaps we can also look after this kind of problems or issues. So by this, I'm looking forward to collaborate with all. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Dr. Mudira. Cedric, you want to give a quick response to that?
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Mira, and thank you for your questions. And I can't answer all of them, but yeah, I think maybe my fellow colleagues can chime in later. But I think you brought up a very good point, right? So I think in education, right, it's all also how we enable our next generation. I think you brought up a very good point from kindergarten, right, K to 12, right? This is where we as Google Malaysia, we have been working very closely with Ministry of Education Malaysia. In fact, fun fact, right? Victor just finished a business meeting with them, right? So basically, we have very close relationship with that. If all the audiences here, you have kids that are studying in the local school, right? You will notice that all the schools now are currently using Google Workspace for education, all right? So we have already enabled, and of course, we are in the process, right? As well as I would say it's going to be a long journey, right? Together with MOE Malaysia, we are enabling our students or our kids to have access to better so-called technology. And of course, in that, right, once they have graduated from the K to 12, they are the next new generation of workforce going into the universities, right? So if they are equipped with the same technology or even application, first of all, of course, they are in their comfort, right? They already know how to they already have the access, and of course they have their skill sets and knowledge on how to manage all this. Yeah, so that's one thing in regards of how we are enabling and training the next generation. And of course, you mentioned AI chatbot, right? So yeah, that is where we are very, this is where the Google Cloud innovations comes in, right? Not just at the AI chatbot, right? Chatbot is also one of the solutions that we shared by Stephen earlier. But of course, we also have AI tutor, which what you mentioned earlier, how to assist some of these students that have challenge into certain subject, for example, maths or engineering you mentioned earlier, right? Of course, I'm not an academic, so I can't really answer. But of course, what we are trying to say is that there is a solutions already in place, right? We just need to collaborate with the university, or of course even MOHE. Of course, if you're, I'm sure everyone of you here can also engage some of the ministry level to speak to Google, right, as a whole. And of course, if we would like to also work with the university themselves, like yourself, right? So if you feel that Google solution will be able to help you in terms of AI, machine learning, yeah, we are happy to even work with you. All right, so these are some of the areas that I personally feel that is helpful, right? So of course, AI and machine learning is a big topic. That's why I think Stephen only show earlier. He only show a very, I would say, it's tip of the iceberg, right? There are a lot of things that we need to sit in with the university, both IT team, academicians, right, to build this platform that we are able to customize learning for students. Okay, so earlier I shared, yes, AI chatbot, AI tutor, and of course there are many more. Okay, yeah, so I think that's all from my end. Maybe my colleagues Victor or Stephen, you want to chime in?
Yeah, I think what we can do is like there's a lot of areas of research that is of interest to many of the researchers here. So I think once Cedric sends off the links to the various accessibility features that's available on our end, feel free to get in touch with us based on certain areas that you want to discuss further. I think we should be able to provide even more insights into some of these areas that we have, because I think accessibility goes across, a wide range of products. There's accessibility on YouTube, there's accessibility on a Chromebook, accessibility on the Chrome browser, for example. So I think the more input we have based on the diverse mix within Malaysia and of course Southeast Asia, I think that's where we tend to innovate a lot more on our products, because I think our products are innovative because of a diverse inputs from all around the world, and this includes folks like you in Malaysia as well. So yeah.
Thank you, Victor. I have one question. From the last semester students, we did a very quick survey concerning which is the platform that they love the most among, Google Meet and Zoom and MS Team and also WebEx, and Google Meet stand out to be the top. Now, for the coming semester, I am concerned, or should that be the right word? Okay, there might be a drop in using Google Meet because we have been given a note that it doesn't do recording for us anymore. And this is very important feature, for us, because especially I'm in a UMS in Sabah, and many students fail to get connected at different point in time. So they need the recorded lecture session to go through at the end of the lecture. Without the recording feature available, it is a problem. how could this be addressed? How should we address it before our management? Thank you.
Yeah, so I think I can chime in here, and also Cedric can chime in as well. So Dr. Fong, I understand your concern. I think a lot of people have, well, at least a lot of people in UMS, have been long-term Google users, and also across the various universities here as well, right? So I think
because we use Google Suite.
Yeah, so I think what can happen next is we should have a chat with your management team, particularly those in IT, in terms of how they could potentially upgrade their Google Meet, right? Because we provided the recording feature during the last 2 years as a way for institutions to cope with, the transition to virtual learning and now hybrid learning, right? So because we provided it for free, it was a lot of intensive costs on our end, right? So given that more and more universities now are becoming more prepared for all sorts of scenario type of situations, be it hybrid, be it semi-virtual, semi-in-class, we think that the best way is to upgrade the Google Meet to be able to cater for all types of learning requirements and teaching requirements. Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Fong. So yeah, I would just like to add here, right? So I've been working very closely with your IT team in UMS, right? So of course, I'm sure many of the universities, fellow universities here, right? I also speak to most of your IT team, right? So I think, of course, those that I am unable to reach out, because I understand there's 20 public universities in Malaysia, and of course there are like, if I'm not mistaken, 40 over polytechnics and 100 over community colleges. So of course, in Malaysia, there's only 3 of us in the education team, right? So myself, Stephen, and Victor. So sometimes we have a challenge to reach out to everyone, right? To broadcast this message of how Google for Education have evolved over the years, like what Victor had mentioned, right? So we used to have this unlimited storage as well, right? And then of course, live recording features, right? But because there's a lot of, I would say, abuse over the years, right? So now all these features has been, we have actually moved some of these features to actually being a paid version, right? So in order to enjoy these features, universities or the colleges will have to move on to the upgrade paid version. Okay, so of course we have already reached out to some of your fellow colleagues from the IT team. So if they have not upgrade the current version, yeah, please remind them or inform them, right? And of course, if you need the Google team to drop in, we are more than happy. All right, and of course we can share what are the differences between the free version, which is currently now, and of course what is the pathway to the upgrade version, and what the university will enjoy if you get or what we call a value proposition for the universities. Okay, so thanks, Professor Dr. Fong, for reminding everyone this, right? So the live recording features have been removed from the free version since January. Okay, and of course by July this year, the storage, unlimited storage, will be removed as well. So each domain will only have 100 terabyte. So of course, storage policy, or what we call, should be considered by all the university's IT decision maker or management team, right? Because all these storages will be limited to only 100 terabyte. And of course, if you upgrade to the paid version, you will have access to more storage, right? Because we are also in this this era, right, where storage is actually a very expensive cost, right? So I think as universities or even educators, I'm sure you all have your own way of managing storage. So we are more than happy to support and also assist you. Yeah. So I hope that answer your question, Dr.
Thank
Tong.
you. Thank you, Cedric, for updating and enlightening us. Is there any one person that must ask the question, otherwise you can never sleep?
Dr. Fong, I have one question.
Yes, please.
Okay, so thank you for the great sharing from Google Malaysia. Okay, I'm Tan from University Malaysia Kelantan. Okay, so currently in our university UMK, we already established one center called IR 4.0 Center. So this center is still young. So currently, this center, we will provide the training and sharing knowledge and knowledge sharing to the community, especially the community in Kelantan. Okay, so now currently we are developing the module and the training module related to the 4IR, especially the AI and the big data analytics. So maybe may I ask any opportunity or any chance I can the UMK cooperate with the Google? So maybe we can have some cooperation like the as a expertise as a cooperator to this center. So for the future plan. So because currently we already engaged with Microsoft Malaysia. So for certain training courses. So now we are looking for more cooperator, and then we can join together to provide the training or to provide the all these module, especially to the local in Kelantan. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tan. I will take up this question. My fellow colleagues can chime in later. So yeah, to your question, yes, Google Malaysia, or we have been doing a lot of this, what we call enablement series and training, and as well as we also have a program called Higher Education Program, right? That we make it available for all universities in Malaysia, right? Unfortunately, today I did not prepare that this so-called sharing of the higher education program, because it's very much focused on iOER, yeah, that I was informed. But yes, I would like to take this opportunity to share. Thank you, Dr. Tan. Yes, in Google, we have a higher education program. What does it mean, right? We are providing free training as well as enablement for both universities, staff, as well as students, right? Of course, there are few versions of so-called program, right? So there's one we call Google Cloud Computing Foundation program, right? So this is where the universities can choose to incorporate Google content or Google Cloud Computing into their syllabus, okay? So that's one. Second is you are able to sign up with Google, right, for these courses of 16 weeks, right? And then we are able to provide you with this syllabus. And of course, we have something called Train the Trainer. So in return, Google team will train the lecturers, all right, or the academician. And then, of course, in return, your university will train the students in your own lab or in your own university's campus, okay? And of course, we also have the third program, is what we call a career readiness program. So from the program itself, you already know, we are actually preparing the students to embark into the workforce, right? And so all this program is actually free, okay? It's complimentary for universities. And thank you, Dr. Tan, again, for asking this question, because to be honest, I need such forum to share these good things to everyone, but unfortunately, I do not have the so-called reach. But I think this forum today is a very good start for us to reach out to everyone And of course, I'm sure every one of you all have access to the ministry level of MOHE. So I hope that you all can bring us, Google, into MOHE as well to share this good offering. And last but not least, I also like to share, we also have something called a Gemilang program. So just FYI, Gemilang program has not launched officially, but I will just give you a snippets of it. So basically, we are also giving free training or enablement to it's a similar program that I shared, higher education program, but in Gemilang, there's two portions. One is focusing on university students who are already, earlier I mentioned, already what we are providing them, the higher education program, all right? And of course, once they completed the career readiness program, we will invite them to a so-called interview with the industry employer board, okay? So Google Gemilang project is actually, we work with a consortium of industry players, all right? So this is where we will also share what are the top 10 in-demand jobs, right? For technology, for example. I just name a few, like for example, data analyst is one of the key top 3 jobs now in the market. And of course, all the industry players, even Google ourselves, we are looking for data analyst specialists, right? And of course, there are other jobs that I actually have a deck for it, but unfortunately, I never prepared it today. So feel free to engage with me, right? I will actually come back to you all with another session if I could arrange one more session, right? To share all this program. So Gemilang's second program is actually targeting working adults, people like for every one of us here, right? Like if I'm sure if you all want to learn or enhance or upskill, you know, on your cloud computing or cloud, I would say, training or etc., right? You can take up these courses. It's a paid engagement, right? So after you complete these courses, it's a industry recognized certification, of course, by Google. All right, and then of course we will, after you complete the course, we can also link you to the employer board, right? But one thing to note, we do not promise or commit job employment or job placement. This is very much depending on the participating employers, right? And of course, it will go through a series of interview. So in short, all these Gemilang projects, right? What is the key highlight is we are actually also targeting or helping the communities from B40 as well as women, right? So this is the highlight of the program. It's actually part of also a CSR program from Grow with Google Malaysia. So with that, I hope I answer your question, Dr. Tan, but happy to sit with you or, you know, in the next session, or you can get my contact or later I will share in the chat. You all can reach out to me anytime, and happy to share this program with everyone here. Thank you.
Thank you, Cedric. In fact, the emails of 3 of you are with the WhatsApp group for all the participants. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, so we have from UMP, UMK, okay. Anyone else who must ask a question from other universities? Grab the opportunity right now.
Maybe I can ask the questions.
Yes.
Because all the public institutes in Malaysia, right? Every year we organize the IU cells is a conference. So is any Google's Education Malaysia planning to establish a platform for exhibitions, virtual exhibition or conference in addition to Google Meets? Is there any planning to develop this kind of virtual platform?
Yeah, so I can take that question. Of course, we are more than happy to participate in all the education event hosted by of course, the Malaysia's university. Like I said, we are very much happy to collaborate with everyone. Of course, we just need the invitation. All right, and then of course, myself and my fellow colleagues here, we will manage the resources, and of course, if needed to, we will also invite some of our specialists from the regional team to join us. Yeah, so yeah, happy to please. I've really shared my contact at the bottom. Right, please feel free to reach out to me if you have any event that you want Google team to join. I will definitely run through it with my team, and then we will more than happy to collaborate further. Thanks.
Okay. And I think I'm going to close now, but I have a very dying question within me, which may be out of the scope of today. Cedric, Stephen, and Victor, Google, is a big giant. People say that Google actually, if it ever open up a virtual university, it will swallow up all 99% of other universities. What is the future scenario of university in your eye, Google's eye? Cedric?
Wow. Dr. Fong, that's a very tough question. But yes, of course, I still believe that the universities plays a very important role in our education journey, right? Because like all the physical campus is still important, and of course, I think my colleague Stephen shared, right? What are the psychological impact that has also caused not just students, even myself, right? I've been working from home for the longest time of and of course it also creates some impact. And of course now our Google office is open, and I'm more than happy to be back into the office, right? To meet my peers, and of course within the SOP, right? So I think to answer you, yes, the university's campus is still a critical component for the entire journey of a student, right? And of course, we believe that hybrid learning is here to stay, but how are we able to best integrate both worlds together, right? And of course, Google University, I think that is a lot of questions have been asked, right? But for now, we still prefer to work with our fellow universities in the world, right? And I think Google University is beyond my pay grade to even comment, right? But definitely we are here to support our university. That's why I mentioned, right? All this higher education program is actually free, and we just need to engage the right party, which I believe I've reached out to the right team here. I think all of you here can bridge us to the relevant stakeholders for us to bring in our program and incorporate into your university syllabus, for example, right? And then of course, this is where we are able to work with each other. And of course, I think the most importantly is to help the students improve and of course learn and upskill, and of course how we are able to enable them in a differentiated learning, right? From K to 12 up to the tertiary and of course universities. Yeah, I think that's from me, but maybe my colleagues would like to chime in.
Okay, a closing remark.
Yeah,
Stephen,
I think for us in Google, the whole idea is that we never stop learning and innovating. I think that's the hallmark of most of our engineering teams, in the sense that there's always customer feedback to take in. There's always new product features that we should incorporate. From an end user perspective as well as from a competitive perspective. So I think for us, the spirit of learning is always there, right? So I would say that being Google itself is also like learning constantly on the whole time. So it actually feels like you're in this really big university that is producing a lot of products in some ways, right? But yeah, I think in terms of supporting learning, we always recommend that, for interested graduates who might consider a technology company such as Google in the future, there's a lot of free courses that we offer as well on our site, right? Introductory as well as some paid ones that we've partnered up with third-party providers like Coursera. So yeah, those type of content is always there, especially for people looking into getting into tech jobs in the future. Yeah.
Thank you, Victor. Okay. Chong,
Prof,
Mr. Chong.
Yes, Prof, can I request a group photo? I can ask, I would like to, Prof, can I request a group photo?
Yes, please. Yes. May all of us put on our camera as Chong will be taking a group photo.
Can I ask Mr. Cedric to stop screen sharing? Awesome. So I have 4 pages here, so just bear with me.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone look at the camera. So this, I'm now on the first page. 3, 2, 1, smile. Hold on, let me save it. Okay, now I'm moving to the second page. Okay, so the second page we have here Stevens, Amy, Adila, Munila, Nobita, Muhadeus, Sajila, one Anidawati, and Dr. Siti. So please look at the camera. 3, 2, 1, smile. Sorry, just bear with me. On to the third page. So we have here Zurila, Tan, Mira. Okay, the rest did not off the camera, so I just proceed with.
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, done. Thanks.
On behalf of every one of us who are representative from all the 20 public universities, as well as civil SEN, as well as from the Ministry of Higher Education, we'd like to say a big thank you to Cedric, to Stephen, and to Victor. Terima kasih banyak-banyak.
You're welcome, and thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Yes, we shall stay in contact. Okay, I'll be contacting you again, Cedric. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you, everybody. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Have a wonderful day. Stay safe, everybody. Stay healthy. Yeah.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.